G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the south side of the map, we've got Muslim playing as the Rus, and his opponent who spawns to the north of the map, Litikor. Who is it?
It is Magic on the north playing as the Rus as well. Rus mirrors here in Arabia. Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. So these players are playing a best of 3 series. We're currently in the Steel Series Prime Cup, and this is the semi-finals, I want to say, Litikor. Is that correct?
Indeed it is. It is a best of 3. Prize pool of the event is $20,000. It is a quite a well-distributed prize pool though, so the winner only gets $5,000. It's not really a front-heavy tournament, but still one of the major 1v1 tournaments of our time. And $20,000 prize pool for a one-weekend event is definitely quite significant.
Yeah, it's incredible to think that this is just one weekend that is happening, and there's $20,000 coming in from Steel Series for this one. So big shout out to them. It is great to have them supporting the age community, and hopefully they're going to be sticking around. But speaking of sticking around, the Rus, they've been sticking around for a few weeks now. Both players here opting to play the Rus on Arabia. Both players opening up with relatively safe openings, not looking to deny any hunt from their opponents. We can see that they've both headed towards the backs of their base, or the backside away from their opponents. But no one really looking for any potential hunt theft going on just yet, Litikor.
Indeed, looking at the bounties, the Muslim is at 105 and Magic is at 95. So both players starting off quite nicely, taking down their own patches of deers. So this is going to come down to how many wolves you're able to get, because that's your major source of gold when it comes to bounties. So in fact, I love to see that Magic is moving out with one scout to the right side looking for wolves, and that is the same approach from the Muslim. Now, notably, the Muslim played English in his Arabia games in the previous 2 sets. So this is the first time I'm seeing him playing Rus in this matchup. Not sure how experienced he is with this build, and that could give a tiny advantage here for Magic.
Well, look, I'm going to be honest with you, Litikor. I kind of joke about Rus players, and like part of the build order is drooling on their keyboard. You know, I say like, go up with the Golden Gate, get professional scouts, drool on your keyboard a little bit. Just because it is a little bit of, it's a brain dead sort of thing, I like to say. It's very simple. You just got to do one thing. So I don't think Muslim's going to have too much trouble with it. I've been watching his stream a fair bit lately. He plays a little bit of Rus, and he did obviously, he played against Viper in one of the best games of Age of Empires 4 that I've ever seen. I think you might have seen that game as well. It was on Boulder Bay. Do you remember that one?
Nope, I didn't see that game.
Oh, you didn't see that game? Yeah, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, he played the Rus against Viper's Holy Roman Empire. Viper went for a Fast Imperial. It's like an 11-minute Fast Imperial, and he almost died, but Muslim took him all the way to I think it was a 50-minute game. Absolutely ludicrous. So Muslim's, he's got a fair bit of experience with this civ. Should be doing pretty well. Going to be dropping down the Golden Gate, 6 villages on that, so he's really looking to rush that one up as quickly as possible.
Absolutely, and he got a very, very nice start with the bounty. He lured in 4 wolves to his town center, so he's sitting at 270. As a comparison, Magic is only at 220, and the reason why that hurts is because he's lacking that level 2 bounty. He's gonna get that with that wolf being killed now, but still, the later you get it, the less your food income is going to be, simply because you're getting that extra gather rate boost a little later.
He does actually have a sheep under his town center. It's hiding out at the moment. I've managed to locate it. I think we can probably spot it. Yeah, if you actually move the camera around to look inside the town center, you can see that sheep just hiding out. So if he hits that one, it'll take him up to 250.
And that's something that he needs. Otherwise, he's going to be sitting at 245, and he's still going to be at level bounty. Feudal Age in for both players. And, the Muslim still has a scout coming out of that hunting cabin that delays that professional scouts a tiny bit.
Well, but in addition to that, Magic actually having to do a forced drop-off with the wood. A little bit of miss macro there. We did actually see earlier in the day that we had players managing to get that professional scouts out at about 355 on the dot. But it looks like both players skipping a little bit of a beat there. We'll say with regard to the professional scouts. So it was just, I love that you were watching Muslim and he had the scout in there, whereas Magic was, he was waiting on wood to come in. So he had all the gold in the bank. I think he had about 360 gold sitting there, but only had 52 wood. It took him a little bit of time there before that one came in.
The timing of this one is crucial, because even if just 5-6 seconds of an advantage for the professional scouts, that could be a difference maker between who picks up the hunt of the opponent. And you see, Magic is already moving up with his scouts, so he's looking to take the hunt of the Muslim here. Whereas the Muslim looks like he's pulling all his scouts back, so he just wants to focus on his own patch of huntables.
Oh, really? Oh, that's actually quite rare for people to do that. Typically in these matchups, yeah, you always, almost always want to be going for your enemy's hunts. Especially in these highly contested Rus mirrors. So looking forward to seeing how it goes. We're going to have more scouts here than we have deer, so it's going to be a little bit tight. We're basically playing musical deer, and it looks like Muslim might have to be able to sit this one out. It looks like 3 of those 4 deer do get picked up. 4 of the deer now getting picked up. Magic walking away with 4 deer. Muslim, unfortunately, empty-handed. He's only got 3 deer. 2 of his scouts have had to sit this one out and say, sorry guys, we're going to have to find shares elsewhere.
Absolutely. He probably was looking at that patch of huntables and just said, oh dear.
Oh my. You know what, Lytical? I've missed casting with you. I've missed the dad jokes. It's been a while that I've been away from my dad. Look, I'm hopefully going to go see him next week. And obviously, we've got Christmas coming up. But, you know, in the interim, it's great to have you here making all the dad jokes.
Notably, the 2 patches of huntables are very, very close to Magic space if you look at it. So it's very, very easy to ferry in all that deer and just prevent the Muslim from stealing that. As a comparison, the Muslim's second patch of huntables is very far out on the left, and so far, he only managed to pick up 3 deer for himself, whereas Magic is already pretty much done swooping up one of his patch, and he also took quite a lot from his opponent.
Yeah, I think this is really where the big difference comes in, and having a look now, Magic's actually going to pick up that second hunt from Muslim. He's got 4 scouts heading out that way. We've got now Muslim actually managing to secure up quite a few carcasses of his opponent. His scout once again going to be... Oh, he's managed to pick up 6 carcasses from his opponent's hunt, so not a terrible job there. I think he's going to be pretty happy with that, but Magic already able to click up at 7 minutes, dropping down the Abbey of the Trinity. He's got 14 villagers on this, and I think this might have been one of the fastest click-ups I've ever seen in this build order. Some of these Rus players are absolutely ludicrous when it comes to their click-up times.
Absolutely. And there is so many small details coming down to this one. How good your hunting cabin is at the beginning, because that gives you a gold trickle, and having a slightly better gold trickle could be a difference maker between having to use 1 more ticket from your golden gate. Your main bottleneck is that ticket available out there, so depending on how much bounty you get and depending on how good your hunting cabin is, that can determine how many tickets you have to use. The Abbey of the Trinity is coming in for the Muslim as well, and it looks like the cast stage times will actually be pretty much identical.
Yeah, 7:47 there for Muslim. Very nice timing for him. He doesn't yet have a ticket to spend at the Golden Gate, so he's still not going to be able to get that Warrior Monk out just yet. Both players now going up to the 3rd age. Abbey of the Trinity now going to be creating its first Warrior Monk for Magic. We'll check in on Muslim. Muslim going to be making one as well, so players looking pretty evenly matched at this point in time. Only about 4 seconds difference between the 2 of them. And yeah, heading in towards this mid-game now, we're seeing quite an even battle between these 2 players.
Absolutely. Notice how both players delay their archer ranges. In the early iterations of these build orders, what we have seen is that you're building your archer ranges as you go up. Obviously, that requires a lot more wood, so you're delaying your castle age a tiny bit, but in exchange you hit castle age having 3 ranges. Instead, in this scenario, both players just go as fast to castle age as possible, because this is going to come down to whoever can get more relics. Looking at the relic spawns, those seem to be fairly even, so I would expect both players to have at least 2 relics.
Yeah, I suspect it's going to be going that way as well. Now, in this matchup, I'm curious to see which way players go, whether they look to secure their own relics first, or whether they look to actually contest the central relics as the first port of call. But now we've got Magic going to be coming out now with his Warrior Monk towards the middle, and it looks like it's actually the same relic that Muslim was going for as well. Despite Muslim going up to the next age about 4 or 5 seconds faster than his opponent, the Warrior Monk did come out about 4 or 5 seconds faster for Magic, and Magic's actually going to be losing his Warrior Monk in the middle here, but he should be able to WOLOLO. I think he's going to be absolutely fine. You can see just the lack of damage coming out right here. Magic's got to wake up. I don't know why he's not WOLOLOing. He can WOLOLO. I think is he scared at this point, or is he concerned? A little bit of a mistake coming in from him. I don't know why he just doesn't hit the button, Magic. You could have captured all of these.
Oh boy, that's a disaster, and now that is going to be a relic falling into the hands of the Muslim. He freaked out. I think that he just forgot that he can convert.
He just
and that's
forgot.
why
It was the slowest death I've ever seen, but it was disgusting. What was that, Lidicore? That was... This is next level nerves.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's why having that many scouts actually helps, because otherwise he can't surround that warrior monk. At the end of the day, that's going to be one relic for the Muslim, but the bigger thing is that you just killed one warrior monk, so you slow down your opponent's relic gathering operation. As you said, he could have converted, but even if you don't do the conversion itself, that forces the Muslims scouts to just disengage, because you can't keep those scouts around when the WOLOLO was triggered. So
exactly.
That was just such a weird move from Magic. I think he either just forgot about that warrior monk as it is, or he was just trying to right-click spam outside, hoping that he doesn't need to trigger the conversion, but I think he just forgot about it, simply.
I think that's got to be it. I think he's just forgotten to use that. He's obviously sitting there. He would have been spamming as fast as he could, trying to free his warrior monk from the clutches of the Muslim's scout mass. But unfortunately, yeah, just forgetting that he could have just clicked that one button, created that global sound, that WOLOLO, and it would have saved him. It would have saved him so much heartache. But now the Muslim going to be securing up his third relic of the game. So second relic going to be coming in here for his opponent Magic now as it gets picked up. So the Muslim definitely going to be having the lead as we enter in towards the mid-game. Players obviously going to be looking to fight over the sacred sites next, and huge masses beginning to build of scouts as well as of horse archers as Magic begins to retreat back towards his base and the Muslim pushing out.
And talk about small things influencing the game. That relic difference will be just built on that single lost warrior monk for Magic. If that wasn't lost, he would have the relic lead, and those could have long-term consequences. Having one extra relic for the course of the game is a massive difference maker. Yeah,
it's absolutely huge. I mean, it's 100 gold for the rest of the game that's going to be trickling in for him. So, you know, that really starts to add up when you're talking about 30 minutes. That's, what is it? 3,000 gold. I mean, can you imagine that? Basically a free gold mine for Demuslim here. But now Demuslim are going to be pushing into the middle of the map, fighting over this sacred site, forcing Magic back. You can see that he's got quite a significant mass advantage here over his opponent, and also has warrior monks in the mix, which are going to be providing that Saint's Blessing. You can see it coming out over on top of these units, and a beautiful cleanup right now for Demuslim. He's going to be forcing back his opponent. We've got the sacred sites that are getting captured up at the meantime, but the primary issue that Demuslim's going to be having at the moment is just that he's not really going to have a way to siege down his enemy town center. So going to be falling back and looking, I guess, to apply a little bit of pressure to wood lines potentially. Where does he go from here?
I think that at this point you gotta start picking up one of those sacred sites for yourself as well. And you see the different approaches here. Magic is dispatching his warrior monks individually to take the sacred sites, whereas the Muslim just kept his forces together, and that's going to help in battles. Now I feel like you're going to start thinking about getting some raids going, maybe see if those bears on the north, or having villagers on, or you just want to dive in, snipe one or two villagers, and then disengage on the wood line.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We'll take a look now at upgrades that are coming through. So we've got the +1 that's come through, +1 ranged attack coming through for Magic. He's going for +1 defense now. No Boyar's Fortitude coming through just yet. Compare that over to his opponent, Demuslim. He's on the same upgrades at the moment. No Boyar's Fortitude coming through for him just yet. No +1 defense, but now we've got ourselves another battle beginning to unfold in the center of the map as Demuslim looks to hold onto this sacred site. Scouts heading on towards the backline, and in this micro battle, it's going to be about focusing down the enemy horse archers. Keep in mind there's a lot of health on these scouts. You want to avoid shooting them. You want to make sure that you're killing your enemy horse archers, and Demuslim doing a great job of that. Kind of looks like he's got a pretty good lead here, Lidicore, so far.
Absolutely. I think he also has warrior monks in this fight, so Magic lost his warrior monks quite early on, whereas his own are still there, and as you said, those help quite a bit in this battle. This was a decisive win here for the Muslim, currently sitting at 53 kills and 22 losses, and we're talking about only 11 army for Magic and 29 for the Muslim, and behind this one, remember, there is one extra relic for the Muslim as well, so slowly but surely he's carving out a lead, and mirror matchups like this can snowball very fast if one player starts to slowly grind down the opponent and build that lead.
And I think that's exactly something that Magic has realized, and he's starting to look for the next route out. So he's actually dropped down a siege workshop in the back of his base, so not going towards the front. Probably wants to keep this one hidden because obviously you spot out a siege workshop from your opponent. What's your immediate response? Your immediate response is to drop down your own siege workshop and begin training up Springalds. So I'm suspecting we're going to see a Mangonel or two potentially coming out, and indeed we do see a Mangonel coming out for Magic now. So he's looking to begin turning the tides in his favor, it seems.
He needs to, because he has lost map control, which would allow the Muslim to secure sacred sites. Looks like the Muslim could lose that warrior monk on the north, though, to the Cav Archer, so he needs to be careful with that.
I'm not sure if you saw what happened over on the right-hand side of the map, Liticor, but there was a sacred site, and it actually came down to about half a second to tick over, and the Muslim just left it a tiny little bit too early. He was trying to take advantage of it, but it's just cost him a whole bunch of resources. It's been absolutely terrible. He manages to send back a warrior monk now to recapture it up, but it's bad, unfortunate timing right there.
Indeed. He did lose the warrior monk on the left side, but he's going to have 2 sacred sites, and as things stand, Cav Archer numbers are fairly even. That Mangonel could be the difference maker.
Yeah, Mangonel getting off a good shot right. Oh my god, nice little dodge right there. Doing the old 1-2. Did you see that one? He walked in one direction, faked him out, and then split around. Oh, beautiful dodges coming out from Demuslim. He dodges 2 in a row right now. We're going to be able to take out that Mangonel on the front line going down. Demuslim's mass is absolutely massive. Boyar's Fortitude's going to be coming in for him as well, making sure he's got that extra 20 health at this point. Demuslim looking incredible at this point in time, Liticor.
Absolutely, and the Cav Archer numbers are quite even, so that Boyar's Fortitude is massive, and the moment those Cav Archers retreat from Iron Magic, he's going to start losing his access to food. That's pretty much his only food income right now, those berries. No food, no Cav Archers, and this could snowball out of control in a matter of moments.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We're actually starting to see his food per minute beginning to drop. He's down to about 550 food a minute. It is dropping down very quickly. Demuslim doing a great job of forcing him to idle right now. And gosh, Demuslim is looking incredible in this match right now.
He is looking extremely powerful, and you see Magic is sitting at 1 food. Not only does that prevent him from massing more Cav Archers, it's going to affect his villager production as well. So, once again, the Muslim gets himself a tiny bit of a lead over here. 56 villagers over 45 is the villager count. It wasn't about the villagers killed, it was about the idle time on that town center for Magic.
Yeah, and now we're going to see like one of the significant differences that you pointed out in the early game. You mentioned that Magic was focusing on securing up those sacred sites, whereas Demuslim was just looking at reinforcing his main army. And as a consequence, it meant that his warrior monks were able to apply Saint's Blessing in the battles. They were able to provide that extra 1 armor, and that was enough to turn the tide of the battle in the favor of Demuslim. And ever since then, we've just continued to see a trend towards Demuslim. And now as we enter into the 17th minute, he's picked up his second sacred site, and he's looking incredible.
He also took down 2 boars, so he's at 455 bounty now. That's gonna be a ton of extra gold to work with. He's got 1 extra relic for him, and he is getting that 3rd sacred site even. So soon, he can just sit back and defend those sacred sites, force Iron Magic to make a move.
Yeah, speaking of Iron Magic making moves, actually gets a very good Mangonel shot off right there. That was an incredibly good one, hitting off on a lot of these units here. Getting off a second shot and managing to miss the most of, or the majority. But keep in mind, there are warrior monks that are mixed in with this army. So if there's a civilization that's going to be able to counter effectively the Mangonels of their enemy, it's going to be the Rus. I got to say that much. It feels like the Rus are definitely a civ that are very well rounded when it comes to dealing with Mangonels.
Absolutely. And the magic of this one, get it? Magic? So the magic of this one is that you can heal those Cav Archers back with your warrior monks. So not only are they capable of capturing sacred sites, they're able to boost your units, but also heal them up when outside of combat. And you see that if you look at the resources per minute, that's way better for the Muslim in every department. He already has a good farming eco set up. He's got 3 sacred sites, whereas his opponent has absolutely no farming eco just yet.
Yeah, and one thing to note is these warrior monks really heal up these units incredibly quickly as well. A couple of horse archers going to be going down in the middle from Demuslim, only 3 though, so not a huge amount. Probably going to be losing that sacred site as well, but not a big deal for him. As you mentioned, he has already begun his transition into farms. So the fact that he's been able to drop down 15 farms, that's a lot of resources. 15 times 75 equals a lot. It's more than 1,000. Actually, he's got, oh my god, he's got a lot of farms here. He's got 14 over there. He's got 15 down here. He's got 29 farms in total. That's more than 2,200 resources. Actually, it's 2,175. So very, very close. But yeah, we're yet to see any farms actually coming out from Magic. And the fact that Demuslim is still managing to keep up on the mass numbers, despite having spent more than 2,000 resources on his farms, it's incredible. It is incredible.
Absolutely. And the thing is that farming takes some time to return its investment. It's a very, very heavy on your economy when you have to start adding you those farms. This is why you're trying to delay it as much as possible by ferrying in the year, going out for berries. But the Muslim is approaching that region where he's really getting the benefit of that long-term farming economy setup, and he's getting that return value, whereas Magic is yet to establish his farming eco. A lot of scouts on the field that could snipe that one Mangonel.
Yeah, Mangonel probably going to get sniped out in this position. A beautiful mass of horse archers beginning to build up now. Wonderful splits coming out as the warrior monks look to apply that beautiful blessing that they do have. Now, keep in mind, Boyar's Fortitude has come in here for Muslim, but has not come in for Magic, for I Am Magic. So it means that even though I Am Magic's got the extra +1 in armor, he's got significantly less health on his cavalry. So a little bit of an oversight here from I Am Magic, I would say.
It is a very, very expensive upgrade, especially on the gold cost. And when your opponent has more relics and more sacred size than you, obviously it's easier for the Muslim to afford that. He's actually going for that tower in the middle that has 3 villagers garrisoned inside. He is confident he can take it down. That will also be 3 villagers lost for Magic, who is already behind by 10.
Yeah, and it's kind of wild to think about. Like, as you mentioned, it's an expensive upgrade. It all goes back to that WOLOLO. Rather, the lack of WOLOLO. You know, it should have been a very easy decision for him to make. I'm just going to hit this one button. I'm going to capture my relic. You know, we saw that he was ahead of the Muslims' warrior monk by a decent, 3 or 4 seconds there in the middle of the map. They both went for the exact same relic, and he would have been able to take it out. But unfortunately, that has begun to trickle from a small river into a gushing river, I guess, or a small creek into a gushing river potentially. And now Magic is, really starting to fall behind when it comes to those upgrades and most importantly, that economy.
And now we have some knights on the field as well, so those will help a lot sniping those Mangonels. In fact, that Mangonel is very much exposed since Magic decided to launch a counterattack with his Cav Archers, but that might be very heavily mistimed. Mangonel could get a nice shot in, but it misses it. And now I feel like those Cav Archers can just run straight into Magic's economy here.
Yeah, is he just going to focus down the town center at this point? He's got such a big mass here. The Muslim with 86 military population. So many resources getting banked into this army at the moment. He's managed to actually locate the villages, and at this point, it kind of looks like it might be good game getting called any second here as the villager count continues to dwindle down. I Am Magic going to be holding on at least for the moment. 44 villagers for him. Compare that to the Muslim, who sits up on 63 at the moment. Going to be looking for a bit of a counter raid himself, though. Down towards the Muslim space, it looks like he is going to be picking up a few villagers down here on the farms of his opponent.
The Muslim actually is looking for the villagers up north. Magic finishes the gate just in time to escape, but that's 24 idols, and currently the problem for Magic is that he's got 0 working villagers.
He does too. He's got absolutely no economy. Look, go to income per minute. It is slowly trickling down to 0, 0, 0. I mean, it's not going to be exactly 0, 0, 0 because he does have the relics. He does have the hunting cabin that's there, but it's going to get essentially 0, 0, 0. That is a great find, Lidicor.
Yes, the Muslim is going to lose some villagers over here. In fact, it's more painful than it should be, but his army numbers are much, much better. He's got more relics, and eventually when he grinds down I'm Magic's army, Magic will just have no resources to rebuild his force of Cav Archers. Yeah,
we'll take a look at the villager count. The Muslim on 54 at the moment, Magic on 43, so he's managed to even it up, but as you mentioned, 17 military population versus the 78 of the Muslim is going to mean it's going to be difficult for him to keep up with his opponent.
Absolutely. When the Muslim played his set yesterday, it was, I think, the round of 16 set, he actually had like 114 villagers versus 60 advantage in one Arabia game, and then he lost like 25 villagers to 2 knights on his gold mine. So he definitely has some problems sometimes keeping that eco alive, and this is definitely the only chance for Magic back into this game, somehow grinding down that economy from the Muslim, but still, his own eco is a train wreck, so I don't see this one being a thing simply because we're looking at 56 population against 128.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be that way, doesn't it? Oh, it's absolutely ludicrous. We see the market going to be going down here as well. I think he's going to be buying some stone and looking to drop down a second town center. We'll have to see exactly how he looks to play it, but I can only imagine that's going to be his decision here and trying to look to get ahead on that villager count again because he's down to 52 villagers. 45 for his opponent, so Magic has managed to even up the villager count between the 2 players. Obviously got a lot of villagers up towards the north, but keep in mind that behind this, Magic is slowly adding in farms, but it's going to take time for those to pay off. He's got 13 farms at the back here, but obviously the Muslim, he's got plenty of farms in total. How many farms has he actually added? I'm going to do like a shift click here. Give me a sec, Lidicor. I'm going to count all these bad boys up. He's got 39 farms. He thinks he's playing the English.
That's a lot of farming, Geeko. And most importantly, he's got 83 army on the field as opposed to 9, so he can just run into Iron Magic's base and kill that entire economy, because Iron Magic's just got no army. I was actually waiting for the Muslim to start dropping those walls. He's one of those players that loves to go for walls around his base. He hasn't done that so far, but now he understands that his opponent's only chance of getting back into this game is raiding. So if you limit the raiding surface, you can just force fights in the middle, and that's exactly what we're going to see from him.
Yeah, it's a smart move by him to do that. And I'd just like to say that I really love the production here from Muslim as well. Just training out constant warrior monks. Looks like a raid is going to get picked up. There was a raid of horse archers beginning to move down towards the base of Muslim, and he does manage to spot that one out. But Muslim just been adding in extra warrior monks the entire game. And at the moment, he's got about 5 that are up in the first group. Does he have any in the second group? I'm just going to quickly check. No, it doesn't look like it. But just the fact he's got 5 warrior monks out means that he's always going to have Saint's Blessing being applied. He hasn't picked up any of those unique technologies. Obviously, the Rus have got access to a whole bunch of unique technologies for their warrior monks. But yeah, it's great to see from him.
Absolutely. I think he's playing this one very, very safely, but he needs to realize that his opponent has basically no army on the battlefield. It's 93 versus 15, and while Cav Archers aren't necessarily good against wooden fortresses, you have so many of them that you can start taking those down anyways.
Yeah, it really starts to be quite significant. When you got 55 horse archers out, you know, it's 55 damage essentially per volley. So he's doing pretty well at this point in time. And keep in mind the horse archers are, of course, bugged at the moment, so their attack speed is much faster than what it should be. And so they are putting out a lot of damage.
Absolutely. As the Muslim is playing this one very, very safely, but he doesn't need to rush this one. He's got 3 relics, he's got 3 sacred sites. No point to dive in and potentially risk throwing the game away. We have to keep in mind that these players don't see what we are seeing, so it doesn't know if Iron Magic has something sneaky behind this one, like 20, 30 Cav Archers with 3 Mangonels.
Yes.
In reality, Iron Magic's army is just sort of insignificant, so you could just dive in.
Well, he doesn't have 20 or 30 Cav Archers, but he does have 3 Mangonels. And I don't know about you, Lidicor, but 3 Mangonels is the magic number. It's enough to take out an entire fleet of Cav Archers, and it manages to get the first shot off. Now, Villagers going to get pulled here as well. It looks like we've got Villagers coming in on to heal those Mangonels. They're managing to get off a couple of shots, but there's just so many units in here. I don't think it's going to make a difference to Muslim. Looking like he's going to be able to clean up this game. All the Villagers going to be going down. I would have loved to have seen some walls out here for Magic. Probably would have been able to keep these safe. Maybe just a little box over towards the right side of his farms, but it does look like the Muslim manages to come out victorious, Magic tapping that one out and taking the first game in this semi-final.
Great play over here for the Muslim. It was just a slow, gradual increase of that advantage that he had. And I'm not trying to overstate the importance of that single relic not being taken by Iron Magic, but really, as you said, if he just triggers the WOLOLO over there, that would have scared away the scouts, because the scouts take a lot of time to kill that warrior monk. So you either convert all those scouts, or the scouts will leave. Whichever happens, you will be able to get that relic back. And that was the first piece of advantage that the Muslim was able to acquire. And we talked about the Boyar's Fortitude. That's an upgrade that's very heavy on the gold. When you have 100 extra gold per minute, it's much easier to afford Boyar's Fortitude. That allows you to have a combat advantage. That translates into a map control advantage that you can use to gather the sacred sites, and from that point on you have a better resource income, and that is just something that you can use for better army numbers.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful summary right there. And for anybody who is watching this one on YouTube, we're going to leave you guys here. I'm going to put a link in the description over towards Lidicor's YouTube page, so I encourage you to check him out. If you're interested in seeing more casted content like this game that we've just casted, make sure you check him out. And a big shout out to Steel Series as well, Lidicor. They've sponsored this event for us, so big shout out to them.
Indeed.
All right, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.